In this session, what we are going to do is we are going to look at some division questions. Okay, so the division questions which are asked in various CAT papers and which will be used in other aptitude exams also. So I'll be discussing about 4 types of division questions, and I'll be making you to understand the patterns in which they ask this question. So it will be very easy for you after this discussion. Okay, so if you get any such kind of questions after this discussion, it's going to be very easy because we are going to understand the pattern. Now, out of the 4 types, 3 will be very easy, and I call it as round 1 question must attempt, and 1 category I tell you that is actually round 2 question, because that is slightly difficult compared to the other 3. Okay, so let's look at the 4 different types of division question. So most probably 3 I will do in this session, and the next type I will do it in the next video. That is actually a different session itself, successive division. Okay, so we'll start off with the first 3 division question now. Now you may get questions like this: when you divided by 7 leaves remainder 1, when you divide by 6 leaves remainder 1. Okay, so you have a number which when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1, divided by 6 also leaves a remainder 1. What is that? It's actually n is the number, you divide it by 7, you get remainder 1. The same number n which when divided by 6 also give the same remainder. What is the first such possible number? That is a question. Okay, now how will you answer this question? See, if you see here, the pattern which I want to discuss is basically, here if you observe the remainders are same, right? So I call it as type 1, okay, type 1 where the remainders are same. So the way in which you will get these questions are like this: you have a number, when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1, divided by 6 leaves a remainder 1. Or you can get questions like this: you have number of books available, when you group it into group of 7, 1 book will be left out, when you group it into group of 6, 1 book will be left out. Okay, or you have certain number of students, and if you need to arrange them in an assembly, okay, so if you group them into columns of 7, okay, 1 student will be left out. If you arrange them in columns of 6, 1 student will be left out. So what is the minimum number of students possible, or what is the minimum number of books possible in the shelf, etc. These are the type of question when they put this situation in words. Okay, so how will you represent this question? I can basically represent this question like this: I have a number, that's what they're asking, what is that number, right? Which when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1. I'll write like this: 7a plus 1. What is this? It's actually 7 is the divisor, okay, plus a is the quotient and 1 is the remainder. So any number you can represent like this: divisor into quotient plus remainder, right? So 7 is the divisor and a is the quotient and 1 is the remainder. You don't know what is a. If you know a, directly you can write the answer, right? Similarly, the same number when divided by 6 leaves this same remainder 1, right? So how will you write that? 6b plus 1. So 7 is the divisor in the first case, 6 is the divisor in the second case. In both cases remainders are same, that is clear. And why I marked a and b? Because obviously the quotients are different. When the divisors are different, when you are dividing the same number with different divisor, the quotient has to be different. Okay, now what will be the answer here? First you need to understand the pattern. What is the pattern? Pattern is the remainder is same. If the remainder is same, the answer is n is equal to LCM plus remainder. The number is actually LCM plus remainder. LCM of what? LCM of divisors. So here LCM of 7 and 6 plus remainder. What is that? 7 and 6 LCM? 42 plus remainder 1. So 43. So what is the first possible number? If I ask you, that is 43. 43 is the only such number? No, there are many other numbers also. But what is 43? 43 is the first possible number. Then what is the next number? If you need to know the next number, add LCM. Okay, so 43 is the first number, then 43 plus 42, that is the second number. So what will be the third number? You add 42 again. Fourth number, you add 42 again. Now why is it happening? Because when you take 43, you divide by 7, you get remainder 1. 43 you divide by 6, also get a remainder 1. Then when you add 42, what will happen is 42 is completely divisible by 7 and 6. So here you won't get any remainder. Now here you have a remainder which is same. Okay, so if you keep on adding 42, there is no change in the remainder. Why? Because 42 is the LCM of 7 and 6. So you keep on dividing with 7 and 6, it leaves the same remainder 1 in all cases. So if I ask you what is the first possible number, that is 43. If I ask you second possible number, 43 plus 42, that is 85. That means 43 plus 42. Third number, again add 82. So this is going to make a series. This is going to make an AP. AP, the concept I have discussed already. So this is going to give you an AP with a common difference 42. Now, not only the first number, any question which can be asked from an AP can also be asked here. So the possible questions in AP I have already discussed. So that questions can also be asked here because this is actually making an AP. So how will you make a question? A number which when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1, which when divided by 6 also leaves a remainder 1. What is the first possible number? Or I can ask you what is the 10th possible number. Okay, so I know first possible number is 43. Right? So how will you find the 10th possible number? First possible number is 43. I know this is going to make an AP with a common difference 42. Right? So this is actually an AP. 43 plus 42k. Why common difference 42? Because LCM is 42. You are adding 42. And in all cases you will get remainder 1 when you divide by 7 and 6. Why? Because when you divide by 7 and 6, here in this part you will get remainder 1. But these parts will completely divide. So there won't be any remainder. So this will remain the same. So I can ask you the first possible number, I can ask you 10th possible number or generalize nth possible number. So what is that? Nth term of an AP. So if this is an AP, I am actually asking you 10th term of an AP, if 10th possible number. So how will you find? 10th term is actually A plus n minus 1 into D. So A plus 9D. So what is A? A is 43. What is D? D is 42. You will get the answer. Similarly, I can also ask you what is 20th term, what is 100th term, or what is 11th term. What is 11th term? A plus 10D. What is A? A is 43. What is D? D is 42. What is the answer? 463. So 10th term is 463. Or slightly difficult question which I can make will be, how many such numbers will be there in the range of 1 to 500? So 1 to 500, how many such numbers are there? What does this mean? How many such numbers means when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1, when divided by 6 leaves a remainder 1. How many such possible numbers are there? That's what I need to know. So I hope this is clear for you, right? How will you find it? You need to find the last possible term less than 500. So that is actually 463 only. Because if you add 42 again, it cross 500. So last possible number is 463. So how many numbers are there means they're actually asking n, number of terms. So if you know the first term and last term, you know how to find the number of terms, right? So n is actually equal to Tn last term minus T1 first term divided by common difference, that is 42 here, plus 1. How you got it? You got it because I hope there is no need to explain this formula, right? We have already discussed it. What is Tn? Tn is actually T1 first term plus n minus 1 into D. So what we need to do is we need to find this n, right? So Tn minus T1, you are taking this one here, then divided by this D, then this minus 1 become plus 1, and that's what exactly you got here. So you know Tn, that is 463 here, right? We got it already. So number of terms means n is equal to 463 minus 43, that is the first term, divided by 42, that is a common difference, plus 1. What you'll get? 420 divided by 42 plus 1, that means 11. That is correct because 463, what was that? 11th term. When we find 11th term, you got 463. Now, if you are not knowing this 463, here we already know because we just found it out, right? If you don't know, how will you find it? So suppose the question was, I have a number which when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1. Same number which when divided by 6 leaves a remainder 1. How many such numbers are there between 1 to 500? This is a question. What I need to do first? I need to find the first number. How will you find? LCM of 6 and 7. Why 6 and 7? They are the divisors. Plus 1. Why 1? Because that is a remainder. So you get 43. Then if you need to find the next number, that is actually, you need to add LCM, right? LCM is 42. So this is going to make an AP with common difference 42 and the first term 43. And you need to find the last term of the series less than 500. What you will do is actually, so 43 is the first term, right? Then 43 plus 42, that is the second term. Then what is the third term? 43 plus 42 plus 42, like this it will go, right? So if you observe here, this is actually a multiple of 42 plus 1. Actually, this is 42 plus 1. This term also will be a multiple of 42 plus 1. It's actually 2 times 42 plus 1. So this is also multiple of 42 plus 1, right? So what we need to do is we need to find the nearest multiple of 42 less than 500 plus 1. And what is the nearest multiple of 42 less than 500? That is 462 plus 1, that is 463. How I got 462? Because 420 is a multiple that I know easily. Next will be add 42 again, 462. Then one more. Otherwise, how you can find is actually you need to divide 500 with 42 and see what is the remainder. What you will get remainder as 38. So when you divide 500 with 42, you get 38 remainder. What does this mean? If you subtract this 38, you will get the multiple of 42. This 38 is the remainder. So subtract 38 means you get 462. So what I need the multiple of 42 plus 1. So I will add 1. So I get 463. So I got the last such possible number less than 500. That is 463. Now I can find n, right? So this is a pattern. So this is the way they will ask you questions. Now what I can do is I can just change the number. Instead of dividing by 7, I can ask you 9, or 6 I can ask you 8. Okay, I'll give you a question. It's just for the sake of giving. Otherwise, once you understood this single question, it's done. That type is done. What is the type? Remainder is same. If remainder is same, what is the answer? LCM plus remainder. And what are the possible question? They will either ask you the first possible number, or they will ask you nth possible number, or they will ask you how many possible numbers are there. Let's see a different question, okay? You have a number which when divided by 7, or let's take a different number, which when divided by 8 leaves the remainder 1, or let's take remainder 2, which when divided by 9 leaves the remainder 2. So I can write the number like this, right? So what is the answer? So this is type 1. Why? Because same remainder. So what is the answer? LCM of 8 and 9. That is 72 plus 2. That is 74. What is 74? 74 is the first possible number. 74 you divide by 8, you get remainder 2. 74 you divide by 9, then also you get remainder 2. So what is the first possible number? 74. What is the next possible number? How will you get? You add LCM. 72. Next number again 72. So this is actually making an AP. What is the common difference? 72. So any question which can be asked from an AP I can ask here. So either I can ask you first number, that's what 74, second number, third number, fourth number. If you generalize, I can ask you nth possible number. It can be anything, 1000 or 100 or 200, or I can ask you how many such numbers are there. How many numbers are there within a range of, let's say, 1 to 800. Let's say 1 to 800. Why I told 800 is basically because it is going to be very easy, because we can find it faster. Now instead of 800 they can ask you 8000 or 80,000 or whatever it is. But the method remains same. Since I am making a question here, I just took 800 because I have enough flexibility when I make a question, right? I can make an easy question, I can make a difficult question. Instead of 800, if I put somewhere like 1250 or something, it is going to be slightly difficult question. Not difficult, but 800, why it is easy? Because if you observe this, 74, then 74 plus 72. So you know this is multiple of 72 plus 2. So 720 is a multiple of 72. Then 720 plus 72, you get 792. So 792 is also a multiple of 72. But I need to add 2 more to get the number. So 794. 794 is the number less than 800. So I know the last number, that is 794, right? 794 minus what is the first number? 74 divided by what is the common difference? 72 plus 1 will give you total number of terms within the range of 1 to 800, right? So what is that? This becomes 720 by 72 plus 1, that is 11. 11 terms are there. Now instead of 800, they can ask you 1000. Then what you will do? You just divide 1000 with 72 and see what is the remainder. Subtract the remainder, you get the multiple of 72. Then add 2. What we need is, we need the multiple of 72, then you need to add 2. I hope this is clear for all of you. Then, now let's look at the second type. Okay, if I give you one more question, a number which when divided by 7 leaves remainder 1, which when divided by 8 gives the remainder 1. What is the answer? One step away, right? 7 into 8, 56, 56 plus 1, 57. So 57 is the first possible number. So what if I give you a question like a number which when divided by 7 leaves the remainder 1, which when divided by 8 leaves the remainder 1, which when divided by 9 leaves the remainder 1. So here I am giving you 3 divisors, right? Very simple, same method. Here LCM of 3 divisors, 7, 8, 9 plus 1. Why 1? Because 1 is the remainder. Now let's look at the next type, okay? So you can mark it as type 2, okay? So let's understand what is this type. I give you a question, n is equal to, that means it can put in different words, right? I have a number which when divided by 7, okay, leaves a remainder 2, which when divided by 8 leaves a remainder 3. Similarly, now when I am writing like this, it is very easy, because if you want, you can make another question. You can write it as 6a plus 3 is equal to another question, okay, 7b plus 4, a different number. I just made a question. So this is how you can make question. Okay, one more question. N is equal to 9a plus 4 is equal to 7b plus 2. Now, what is this type? If you see here, the remainders are not same, right? Remainders are different. But what is the similarity? What is the similarity? If you observe the difference between the remainder and the divisor, here it is 5, here it is 5. Okay? If you look at this, the difference is 3, the difference is 3. Now, if you look at this, the difference is 5, the difference is 5. So what is common here? The difference between the divisor and the remainder is same. The difference between the divisor and the remainder is same. Okay? In this case is 5, here is 5. So this is what we call as type 2. So if you get division question, first thing that you need to look is whether the remainders are same or not. If it is same, the first method, LCM plus remainder. If the remainders are not same, you look for the difference between the divisor and the remainder. If that is same, it belongs to type 2. This is also a pattern. We have a faster method. Now here the answer is LCM of divisors minus the difference. So first question, if you take, what is the LCM of divisors? 7 and 8, 56, minus what is the difference? 5, minus 5, which is equal to 51. Second case, if you take, what is the LCM? 6 into 7, 42, minus what is the difference? 3. So 42 minus 3, which is 39. Third question, if you take 9 and 7, what is the LCM? If you see 63. 63, what is the difference? 5. So 63 minus 5, 58. Now you can check. Let's take the first one. 51. What they are saying is 51 divided by 7. What is the remainder? 2. Correct. 51 divided by 8. What is the remainder? 3. Correct. Let's take the second case. 39. 39 divided by 6. What is the remainder? 3. Correct. 39 divided by 7. What is the remainder? 4. Correct. Let's take this case. 58. 58 by 9. What is the remainder? 4. Because 54 is a multiple of 9. Then 58 by 7. Remainder is 2, because 56 is a multiple of 7. I hope this is clear. Now, whatever questions I have discussed in type 1 can be asked here. Only the method of finding the first number is different. There it was LCM plus remainder. Here it is LCM minus the difference. Everything else remains the same. The questions which I asked you there. Like, okay, now let's take this first case. Or let's take it here. What is the first case? This one, right? 7a plus 2 and 8b plus 3. Okay? 7a plus 2 equal to 8b plus 3. What was the number we got? 51, right? 51. So the question is, what is the first number? 51. What is the second number? How will you find? You add LCM. Okay. So 51 plus LCM of divisor, 7 into 8, 56. Third number, again LCM. So this is also going to make an AP. This is also going to make an AP with a common difference 56. So any questions which we have discussed there can be asked here also, or rather any questions which can come in an AP can come here also, except the first one. First one is a direct question which can come here. After that you got an AP. Okay, so what are the possible questions? I can ask you the first term, I can ask you the nth term, I can ask you the number of terms. See, I cannot simply ask you how many such terms are there, because that is infinity. The series is going on like that, infinity. I have to give you a range like 1 to 500 or 1 to 600, okay, or 1 to 1000 or 1 to 2000. I need to give you a range, and then I can ask you how many such terms are there. Simply if I ask you how many such terms are there, cannot be determined, or infinity. Now one more question, which is slightly difficult question. We have already discussed about constant remainder theorem, if you know, in an AP, right? What is that? If you take any term from the AP, okay, constant remainder theorem is, okay, let's take an AP, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, this is an AP, right? What is the common difference? Common difference is 10. The constant remainder theorem is actually, you take any term from the AP, divide with the common difference, okay, you get a remainder obviously, and same is the remainder for all terms. That means you divide 20 with common difference, you divide 30 with common difference, you divide this term with common difference, you divide any term with common difference, remainder same. Now if you apply this concept here, I can make a very difficult question. Okay, what is the question? A number. Now be very careful here. I am giving a question, I am making a question, or I am teaching you how to make a question. A number which when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 2, which when divided by 8 leaves a remainder 3, Do you know that number? No. But you know what is the first number? You know this is going to make an AP also, but I am not telling you what is that number. Then I ask you, what will be the remainder when that number divided by 56? You got the concept? Okay. So actually what I am asking is, I am not asking you the first number, but I know first number is 51. I know this is going to make an AP with common difference 56. My question is, a number which when divided by this one, 7 leaves a remainder 2, divided by 8 leaves a remainder 3. What is the remainder when the same number divided by 56? I don't know what is a number. That number can be anything in the series. It can be 51, it can be 51 plus 56 or anything. But they're asking you what is the remainder. What is the concept here? If this is an AP, if you divide any term with a common difference, leaves the same remainder. So, if I need to find the remainder, I just want to find the remainder when 51 divided by 56. What is the answer? 51 itself. What is the answer? 51. So first term itself will be your answer. But instead of 56, if I ask you what will be the remainder when the same number divided by 60, then your answer is cannot be determined because you don't know. Here, how you know? Because 56 is the common difference. If not common difference, you cannot get the answer. You can get the answer only if it is common difference or the factors of common difference. Now factors of common difference also will give you the same remainder. So instead of 56, if I ask you what will be the remainder if 28 divide the same number, then also you can just divide 51 by 28 and you can write the remainder 23. That is correct. So if the question is when divided by the common difference or factors of common difference, you can find the answer. Any other number cannot be determined as your answer. If I ask you 100, cannot be determined. If I ask you 200, cannot be determined. If I ask you 500, cannot be determined. If I ask you 2, you can determine. You can just divide 51 by 2, write the answer 1. Why? Because 2 is a factor of 56. And what is 56? 56 is a common difference. I hope this concept is clear for all of you. So these are the possible questions, and these are the only possible questions which can be asked in any aptitude exam. Now you know how to make the question, right? There is no point in solving these questions, similar questions. What are the two types that we have discussed? One is remainder same. One is difference between the divisor and remainder same. And these are the two types. Now, the third possible case I will be discussing. There we don't have a pattern, so we need to do it manually. And I consider that as round 2 question. In your exam, if you get that question, you solve it in your round 2. Now, let's look at the third type. That means, in the first type, you have seen the remainder is same. Second type, you have seen the difference between the divisor and the remainder is same, right? So, in the first case, answer is LCM plus remainder. Second case, answer is LCM minus difference. Now let's look at the third case. That means you don't have anything similar. Okay, so I told you already this is round 2 question because you need to solve it manually. Let's take a number which when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1, which when divided by 8 leaves a remainder 3. Okay, so your number you divide by 7 leaves a remainder 1, divided by 8 you get a remainder 3. So if you observe here, the remainders are different. So second, what you will see, the difference between the divisor and remainder. Here it is 6, here it is 5. So this is not type 1, this is not type 2. So what you need to do is, you need to do it manually. So let's take the possible numbers which can come in this series. 7a plus 1. That means when you divide by 7, leaves the remainder 1. What is the first number? 1 itself. Because when you divide 1 by 7, leaves remainder 1. Second number, you add 7. You get 8. Third number, you add 7. It will actually increase in steps of 7. This is also will give you an AP. This is also an AP. Okay. So 1, 8, 15, 22, 29, 36, 43, 50, etc. It will go. It will go in steps of 7. So it's actually an AP with a common difference 7. Now, so that is this series. Okay. Now let's look at the second series. 8b plus 3. When you divide by 8, leaves a remainder 3. What is the first number? 3. Second number? 11. Third number? 19. Then you get 27. Then you get 35. Then you get 43, etc. It will go. Okay, so you saw the numbers which will come in both series. Now you need to see where you get a common number. If you see here, you have 43. If you see here, you have 43. So 43 is the first possible number which satisfy both conditions. What are the conditions? Divide by 7, get a remainder 1. Divide by 8, get a remainder 3. So both conditions have to be satisfied. First number is 43. Okay. Why? When you divide 43 by 7, what is the remainder? 1. When you divide 43 by 8, what is the remainder? 3. Because 40 is the multiple of 8. Okay. Now, in the previous questions also, you are actually doing this method only. But when you have some pattern, you have a shortcut. See, when I told you 7a plus 1 and 8b plus 1, that is n, right? Since the remainders are same, you're writing it as 56 plus 1, 57. Otherwise, you need to manually do this and this. How? First series, if you see 1, then you need to keep on add 7, right? So next will be 8, then 15, etc. When you go, you'll get 57 here. Same in the second case, first number is 1, then 9. When you move like this, you get 57. You get a common number and you will pick that. Here also you got a common number 43, and that's your first number. Now after the first number is what difficult, okay? After getting the first number, you can get the previous questions. The questions which I have discussed in both categories earlier, you can get the same question. If you get the first number, that is 43, okay? Then what is the second number? Second number will be LCM. You need to add LCM. What is LCM here? 7 and 8 LCM is 56. So add 56, you get the second number. So this is actually going to make an AP. Now you keep on adding 56, you will get an AP. So any questions which can be asked from an AP can be asked here. So the questions which we have discussed in type 1 and type 2 can be asked here also. What are they? First number, that you need to find it manually. You need to do it. That's why it is round 2. So if the remainder is not same, if the difference between the divisor and the remainder is not same, that's your round 2 question. Because finding the first number, you may take some time. Here it is easy, but if you get slightly difficult number, it may go on like that. Okay, if it comes to 100 plus and all, writing this will take a lot of time. Okay, so they can ask you first possible number, they can ask you nth possible number, they can also ask you how many such numbers are there. By giving a range, randomly they cannot ask you how many such numbers are there. That's infinity, you cannot determine. Okay, or now based on constant remainder theorem also they can ask you question. How can they make question? When divided by 7 leaves a remainder 1. When divided by 8 leaves a remainder 3. I am not asking you first number, I am not asking you nth number, I am not asking you how many number are there. I am just asking you, when this number divided by 56, what is the remainder? What is the answer? Take the first term 43, divide by 56, write 43 as the remainder. That's your answer. If it is 56, that's your answer. If it is 28, then also you do the same thing. Take the first term divided by 28 and see what is the remainder, 15. If it is 14, then also that's your answer, because 28, 14, 7, 8, etc. are multiples of 56. So this rule is applicable only for multiples of 56. If I ask you, what will be the remainder of the same number divided by 100? Cannot be determined. Or any other number which are not multiples of 56 cannot be determined. I hope this is clear for all of you. Now if you want to make a question, I'll give you, or let's make one more question. I have a number which when divided by 7 leaves a remainder 0. Okay, so plus 7a plus 0, which when divided by 8 leaves a remainder 3. So first you need to check whether the remainder is same. No, remainder is not same. Then check whether the difference is same. Here it is 7, here it is 5. So the difference is also not same. So this is your type 3. If it is your type 3, this is your round 2 question. Solve it in round 2 when you come back. Now when you solve it in round 2, how will you solve it? First you will expand the first series, 7a plus 0. So what are the numbers? 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, etc. Similarly, when you expand the second series, first number is 3, then 3 plus 8, 11, then 19, then 27, then 35. Now you got a common number here. So that's your first term, 35. So you got the first term. Now what is the common difference? That will be 7 and 8, 56. So your AP will be 35 plus 56k. You get an AP. So first term you need to find it manually like this. Nth term you can find by using a plus n minus 1 into d. Because if they are asking 10, n become 10. D you know 56, a you know 35. Number of terms you can find by using tn minus t1 divided by common difference plus 1. Or last term minus first term divided by common difference plus 1. Okay, so or they can ask you question based on constant remainder. What will be the remainder when the same number divided by 100? Cannot be determined. 200 cannot be determined. 56, then answer is 35. 28, then 35 divided by 28, 7 is your answer. If it is divided by 14, then 35 divided by 14, 7 is the answer. If it is 7, then 35 divided by 7, 0. That already we know, because that is what asked. When it divided by 7 leaves a remainder 0 is given. When divided by 2, 35 divided by 2, remainder 1. Why you can find the remainders in all these cases by using the first term? Because it's an AP, common difference 56, and these numbers are the multiples of 56.